her parents are divorced, my parents are divorced. I'm not going through that.
Yeah.
So yes, if I said yes, we would stick it together.
What was your relationship like with Nancy in the interim, in that year and a half before we saw the show? And what's been your relationship like with her post reunion?
You know, I've answered this question a couple times, and on the show, you'll see our roller coaster kind of as far as love story progress. After the show, there's no longer this love story, but there still is a roller coaster. You know, we took probably 3 to 4 weeks after wedding day and did not communicate at all. You know, you saw it unfold on camera. She was like, she ripped her bracelet off. She's like, I don't want to talk to you ever again. Like, there's nothing romantic for us going forward. And of course, me having just left the altar saying I do not, like, okay, I respect that. Like, that sucks, but you know, because we had this great story and this great connection, but who knows? So I respected that. And then a month later, she texted me and said, hey, can we like talk and kind of decompress together and go through everything? So we spent like 5 hours at Cheesecake Factory together, having dinner and drinks and just talking. And we decided to move forward, trying to be friends. So fast forward a few more months. Now we're both in other relationships. We're both dating other people. And I found it hard to maintain the level of friendship that Nancy wanted with me, while I was also trying to be respectful of a new girl I was dating, because, you know, she would get jealous that I was talking to Nancy. I remember specifically, like, I'd be driving in my Jeep and the CarPlay would pop up and it said, like, Nancy Rodriguez sent you a text message. Oh, that would set off.
Yeah, so, I'm sure.
That would be like a jealousy component. So I had to you know, pick and choose my battles. So it was just hard for me to manage being that close of a friend with an ex versus having a new girlfriend that's not okay with it. And then God forbid they were ever in the same room at the same time, which did happen. It's just not good. So then we progressed into not talking and not being friends, back to being acquaintances, back to being like, okay, you know, like, we're going to go to the reunion and everything. It's going to, like, do you want to be talking? It's a hard situation to be. As of right now, I would say we're cordial, we're acquaintances, but we're not texting every day.
No, I mean, were you ever, I don't know if this is too personal, were you ever romantic during that time post-split, or was it just strictly we're friends?
No, it never progressed anything romantically.
You know, obviously she said that she was blindsided, but like, did she really tell you like 2 weeks before the wedding that she was not ready to get married and that you said no and like begging her for another chance? Did that really happen? And
yeah, so that did happen. Okay. That was, so I don't know if you remember the scene where, like, we're having this argument at home and it was after the group party. Right. And then I go leave and I talk to Matt, and, like, we'll talk him off his ledge. I think that next morning we were both like not having it. And we're just like, you know what? Like, we were both checked out. Because visibly I was no. And she was the one that said it to me. She's like, hey, this is like not going to work. And so she was like, yeah, if my answer was right now, it's going to be a no. And then so that kind of like encouraged me to go back to where I was in the pods and like remind myself who I fell in love with, and show her who I was in the pods, and try and like this last ditch effort to make these last 2 weeks kind of work. And then we fast forward, and then the last 2 weeks were great, right? And we had nothing wrong happened, you know, after that traumatic night with Andrew coming back and me going to fight with Matt. Nothing bad happened after that. So yeah, we get to the altar and it's like, okay, do I want to weigh this decision on just the last 2 weeks, or do I need to look at the last 6 weeks and everything together? Because if it was just based on the last 2 weeks, you know, it looks good, you know what I'm saying? It looks good. And so that was hard. But no, and I think that's where the blindsiding comes from, because it was such a great past 2 weeks leading up to the altar. And that's why I said, like, who knows if our wedding date wasn't July 1st, 2021, if it was July 15th, 2021, you know, that's a completely different story.
Yeah. I mean, so were you surprised that she said yes?
I was like, I had no idea what she was going to say. I was 50-50. I was like, this girl could say yes, she could say no. 2 weeks ago, she said no. Right. And today she's saying yes. So I'm like, whoa. And which is why I brought up the whole point after when we're sitting on the staircase and she rips the thing off. I'm like, you realize you're cutting me off right now, even though you just said yes to spending the rest of your life with me. Like, how does that make any sense? Which, I mean, in hindsight, that was just a very emotional display from her, because she reached out to me, you know, 3 weeks later. So it is what it is. But I mean, I was not blindsided by her yes, but I didn't know what to expect.
Right. Were you hopeful, like, in your no, were you hopeful that, like, oh, maybe we can continue to date after this?
That was the plan. That was
the plan.
That was my plan. I was like, I'm not ready to say yes for the rest of my life with you right now. But who knows, if we keep going romantically, then who knows what we could be? Because I know what we had. Like, there was that spark there still.
Sure.
You know, but she didn't want that, and we moved on.
Yeah. Do you question it now, being this far removed?
No, I don't question it now. I don't question it now. I'm happy with my life, with my decision. I think Nancy is too. I think looking back on it, I think she's thanked me for making the best decision for both of us. You know. I mean, this is all hypothetically speaking, but had you have said yes, do you think the two of you would still be together? Yes, I do, because that's part of the reason why I said no, is because that I only want to make that decision one time. And so, like, we would have been, if it had been good or bad, you know, let's say I say yes and we encounter problems or whatever, like, we're sticking together. Like, we're not having her parents are divorced, my parents are divorced. I'm not going through that. Yeah. So yes, if I said yes, we would still be together.